Stream crashed. His OBS stink. Bish. But anyway. This is Monstrous Madness. Something about babysitting monsters who aren't even kids. They're adults. You're hired for a job. Having to do something with monsters. Alright. Let us play. Well. If this isn't the right place, this is the right place, right? God forbid you get lost for the 10th time. This is what you get for going out of your way to find this shady neighborhood for a shady job that you saw in a shady ad with a ridiculous shady amount of money. Like, it was so unbelievably atrocious that it makes you wonder what kind of doofus would reply to that thing in the first place. You did. Bless you, alcohol. Let's just hope fate pities you and doesn't rob you out of more money than you have right now. Best case scenario, rob them back. Need to blow my nose. Alright. Survival of the fittest. You lean. I can't speak. Also, the music is not loud enough. There you go. There you go. Wait, what? You lean in closer to the door as you hear commotion inside. At least now you know there are actual people in there. I guess knock. The fuck? Whatever you just did seems to set off a whole nuke inside. The commotion before evolves into what you can only describe as someone's full-blown panic attack or something similar. Doesn't seem like anyone's gonna open the door for you anytime soon, though. Again? Still no response? Well, alright then. You can play at that game. You began a series of continuous knocking, albeit with even more force than before as the poor door shuffles through your relentless abuse. Like a mutual war cry, the volume from inside matches with your own, showing more signs of unfiltered chaos rather than, opening the freaking door any minute now. Still going. Still here. Wait. Okay, still there. Knock, knock. Who's there? Joe. Ow. Fucking oops. Seems like Joe doesn't like your joke very much. Speaking of pain, ow. Your victim seems to have recovered faster than you and immediately retreats back. Hands still grabbing his abused head and possibly ego. Well, at least the door is opened. Don't mind if you do. Alright. Finally! Inside! Huzzah! It's kind of embarrassing how getting into someone's house give you this much sense of accomplishment. To be fair, it took you an unnecessary amount of time just to get in. You deserve this pathetic kind of achievement. Welcome, please have a seat. I'll be there in a minute. Your voice is loud. Well, that's another voice you don't recognize. Just how many are there in this place? Nonetheless, you make yourself comfortable as you wait. Any minute now. Do you seriously have to wait? Oh, fucking God. Did you fall from the roof? What? He's like, oh, yeah. Hi, I'm Ash. Sorry for the hold up. I ran into some difficulties. Oh, you're here for the job, right? Dang, dude, breathe. I'm thinking. That's great. We've been trying to find someone to take on the job. Luckily, you're here. Either the gig is bad that everyone else left, or is it just that shady to the point no one has bothered to stick to the end? Maybe. Promising. The job isn't too hard. Basically, you're our manager of some sort. Or of some sort? Setting schedules, keeping tags, checking on the members, stuff like that. Alright. Me and the others will help with certain things that you struggle with, of course. You know, just in case. So, any questions so far? I don't know. What the fuck am I doing? Okay, so I'm not a babysitter. Like, some person said where I found this game from. Just more of manager for a group of some sort. About the job, are you guys like a group or something? Pardon? Like, what do you guys exactly need a manager? Are you like a band or? Yes! Yes. I mean, yes. Where, what did you say we were again? A band? That. Convincing. Sure. Yeah, you're totally a band. I believe you. Hey, you totally wear your, stage equipment at home. Right. How convincing. About the others. How many are there in your group? Not much, really. You will have to deal with 3 of us. Which includes me, obviously. Well, there's also one more that you can ask for help with. But he's usually so busy, so yeah, just the 3 of us for now. We also have Cole, who you've met before at the door in Vegas. The person I, beat up. Alright. The guy is pretty big, so you'll know when you see him. Helmet? What helmet? So about the job. Nothing else. So, do we have a deal? Alright. Let's just say no. What happens if we say no? No. It's alright, I understand. You do, it's probably too much for you to handle for such little pay. You wouldn't really consider that number as little. It's just getting hard to have any work done lately, you know? It's been hard to get a job lately, not to mention how hard it is to find any opening at all. It was a bit difficult to get some work surrounds. But wow, I can see that you're managing just fine. Probably have more offers lined up right after this. Not really. And it's not like you're turning down the deal while being on the verge of homelessness or something. You begin to question, when was the last time you paid rent? At least it's not a complete failure. Oh God, you're a failure. Great. Sign your name here and we're good to go. You can't sue us. Oh yeah, am I still doing the job? Alright, Snow. Pleasure doing business with you, Snow. I'll get things set up and ready. Make yourself comfortable in the meantime. Okay, so we don't get a choice to leave or not. We're fucked either way. And there he goes. Well, that was eventful. Well, guess it's back to waiting, or you know, you could make yourself truly comfortable, like he said. Your stomach wouldn't mind a trip or 2. So I want to actually like accept the job, and he's not like, all right. Oh God. Yes. Great. Just sign. Okay. sign. Unless you're doing business. Sit your ass down. A glass of water wouldn't hurt, right? I don't know. I don't like that. I don't like how you formatted that question. But sure, a glass of water wouldn't help. Oh, shit. Listeners, you've done it again. You somehow successfully ventured into the kitchen of a house you've never been into before. You should probably go find a light switch unless you like playing Duck Duck Trip in the dark. Okay, you know what? You have a phone. Let's just use it. Hi. Ooh. Deep breath. Deep breath. 8. Hi. Hello. Water tastes kind of weird. Have you seen... Oh, there you are. Oh. Sorry. Cool's a bit, shy. So, you've met the rest of the crew. That's nice. Well, since everything else has been taken care of, how about you call it a day for now? Have a rest, unwind, and we'll see you. Alright. Guess you'll be heading home now. That was weird. I'll have to see them more. Alright. Oh, that's the end of the demo. Oh. Okay. that was a very short demo. Let's just be cocky. Let's just do everything right now. Open. Either you're hallucinating, that was some seriously concerning shit you just saw. Let's find out. What's up? Hi. So, you here for something? I'm here for the job. Wait, you actually replied to that thing? You nod? Least suspicious looking dude you've ever seen in your life stares back at you. Suddenly decide on a 50-50 of whether to believe you or not. You decide to go with a former. Thankfully, you think. Either that or you just give up thinking and is more concerned about whatever is happening behind the door. You do, to be honest. Right here. And you're still outside. Great. Peachy. Wonderful even. Wouldn't want any other coming. Yeah, no, bye. Coming. Alright. About the job. Alright. Band. Manager for a band. I guess you already met V. He's the one who was just outside. What's his name? Oh, and then there's Cole. He likes staying inside most of the time, so you'll likely meet him eventually. About the helmet? What helmet? Alright. So we have a deal? Yes. Sign your name. Alright. Snow. Sit your ass down. So probably you still have some dignity left to not do anything stupid inside someone's home. Back to where it is. I can't even happen. After your comedically timed delayed reaction, you eventually leap out of your seat, taken by complete surprise or by the sheer absurdity of the situation, causing enough ruckus to alert every living organism within this humble abode. Hey! Oh look, there's one right now. What's wrong? The guy! The body! The body? Oh. That body. What? Shh. Ow. You alive? No. Oh my god. He dead. Oh. Oh no, he's dead? No, it's dead. I mean dead. Okay, calm down, I can explain. You better be. So he's not dead, that first. Right. So next you'll probably wonder why. Well, that's a good question to think about. And, well, he's dead. I thought he just said he isn't. Oh, right. He used to. Used to? Whoa. What V means is we have we each have our own circumstances, and we really need you more than you think. If you're gonna reach a compromise, if money is the problem, money isn't the issue. That we can both figure out a way together. I will see you on Monday. Great, looking forward to working with you as well. I just love that. I just love that. Great, looking forward to working with you as well. Great, I love that. It's the end of the demo. Thank you for sticking until the end. Oh god. I just love him handing us the money. That is so funny. Open. What if we just knock first and then open? Alright. Run. Whoa, whoa, hey! You decide to pull out of there! Whatever was happening, you don't need it on your plate right now. What are you gonna do now? Hide, scream, pray? Oh, shit. What happened? Sorry for the trouble, Jess. You guys really should have been more careful. Is it this one? What a shame. You don't happen to have a lolly with you right now, do you? And just a nightmare. Huh. I should open. I'm here for the job. Wait, what? Yeah, no buy. Well, hey, alright, it's just the same thing. Coming. Coming! Helmet. What helmet? The others. Nothing else. Deal? Yes. Great. You can't sue us. I'm not planning to. Alright, fine. I wanna save here so that way I can go for a glass of water. Oh. Oh. What's wrong? The guy! The body! The body? Run! Okay. Okay, it's just repeating there. What's happening? Well, calm down, I can explain. What the hell is going on? Well, alright. Sorry. I didn't think it would work. He's not dead. First, okay. Okay, whatever. Load. So he tries to kill us if we scream. Soda? Have you seen? Oh, there you are. Sorry. Cool's a bit, right. That was it for that. Alright. I guess we can play the hold on. I'm gonna put notes. We are going. I think I'm gonna play. You bastard. You bastard. You goddamn bastard. we're gonna find another game. And that's gonna be Our Life and Forever. Our Life Now and Forever. Open. Our Life Now and goodness. Open that account. Sorry, I'm having to open Steam. I'm waiting. Right. There we go. Finally, the game's opening. Finally, the gamed. Oh, the gamed. I can't speak. For the life of me, I can't speak. What is wrong with me? God, alright. I'm gonna see if I can do droid cam. I need to notify people that I'm live. I'm streaming this. Hold on. Text. Post. Step 2. Hashtag romance. Alright. Yeah, I do need to. Our Life Now and Forever. See if there's any images. There's an image. There is an image. Alright. Post. Oh, I have to tell TikTok, I guess. Trying to find what music sounds good. There we go. Yeah, need a. Continue to app. There we go. On. There we go. Right. Hello. We are gonna be playing Our Life Now and Forever. Step 2. Step 2. I'm gonna keep to date with this game. Whenever future steps will be coming along. So yeah. Load. There we go. Not sure what we should do with this. Obviously, I don't want them to be just neighbors. I guess, especially for the future, try to go for like one person. I don't know if there's like a thing where we can do both at the same time in the future. I have no idea. But who knows? Who knows? We might do that. Oh yeah. You to Tomahawk. Tomahawk to you. I don't know. I have no idea. What should we do? Teamworking, contesting, I guess friend thing? Raising, accepting. I guess that. I don't know. We're gonna do path for right now. In the future, we'll continue doing it. Doting, teasing. I don't know exactly what contesting is. Maybe I should look this up before I make my choices. Furring. Teamwork. Teamwork, okay. Yeah, that's what's confusing, is I don't know what any of that means. Accepting. And praising. Easing. Maybe, I don't know. It's I saw it's the same thing for them too. There was wait, this is still prologue? I think this is still step 1 technically. Okay. Things were so different for you from just that morning when you left and went on the drive to move. Before that, you'd never been to Golden Grove. You've only seen it in pictures and hadn't known anybody who was a local there. But here you were, a person who lived in that town and was friends with the neighbors on both sides of your houses who also lived here. Were you friends? You thought so. And even though he wasn't here anymore, a bunch of other things had happened that day. Chu was the only thing on your mind. What it was like when you first saw him in the tower. When you started to talk to and know him. All that stuff with his notes and papers. He was special. The air outside kept getting colder. But you were also warm on the inside. It was nice and comfortable in the place you were. Getting even more lost in your own imagination. Wondered when you get to see him again. Oh, shit. Sorry. Snow, is that you? Mommy called from over the fence. Coming. You bounded for her and passed through the gate. Mommy had left the porch and was there to meet you. Thank you for coming back. I'm sure you have an exciting time out there. I'm sorry. I met a boy I'm gonna marry. I'll be right back. I'll be right back. You know, that is some stupid kid shit that you would say as a kid. That is absolutely 100% dumb kid shit to say. That is 100% dumb kid shit. You cannot tell me otherwise. That is not some dumb kid shit to say. I wish I didn't go. You didn't say anything about it. It was great. Could have been worse. I don't know. You're not gonna believe what happened. Everything was amazing. She screws her legs. I met people, mommy. Kids my age. I met a boy I'm gonna marry. God, that's still like that choice. I'm not gonna do it. Fuck it. Oh well, you'll have to introduce us soon. From strength to strength, we've got a key to the house. The agent finally arrived about 20 minutes ago. He's gone now. But I haven't peeked yet. The both of us should be here for this. It's your house, too. Yeah, this is our house now. Absolutely. Come on. Mommy turned to go. Like, she's not even, like, questioning these, like, the kid thing of, I'm gonna marry this boy. They're like, okay, whatever. Like a little kid romance. Alright. Mommy turned to go and slipped the key out from her sweater pocket. She gestured with the hand for you to follow. Your mommy led the way as you went back up the stairs. The key perfectly fit into the hole on the door. And mommy smiled at the sound of an unlocking click. I'm sorry, I'm thinking about Our Life Begins and Always. Like, honestly, you see how much visual novels I play? I wouldn't be doing this if I did not find Our Life Begins and Always. I I would not have been doing this kind of medium if I did not find Our Life Begins and Always at all. So I'm glad to have found that, because that's what got me into visual novels. The key fit perfectly into the door on the hole in the door. Mommy smiled at the sound of the unlocking click, because that's not a really good door unlocking sound. Carefully, she leaned forward with her shoulder, giving it a nudge. Unsure if the best option for the ancient door was extra force or extra restraint. The house opened with a creak. Air came out through the front like it was exhaling. Mommy let out a breath at the same time. Over here, Snow. There's a place for you to get a little closer. You can see inside. Here. You scooched towards your mommy's side in the door frame. It was then that you noticed there was a mat in the front. It had a light color and kind of hard but fluffy texture. The sort of mat that get dirty looking right away when it was used. But it was still clean and nice. It hadn't been worn down at all, like the rest of the building. Sorry. This part of the house was just an old thing left behind by other people who didn't need it or want it anymore. Someone must have put it there from this happening for your mommy and you moving in. Ran across the top it said, "Welcome home." Mommy softly tapped the top of your shoulder and bringing you back into the moment. She kept the hand there, leading you ahead with her. The two of you walked through the door. Everything in the air was still. The wind was blocked, but it was practically as cold inside as it was out of the house. Sorry, there's an airplane. Is that the airplane? No, that's not. Mommy shifted forward cautiously, feeling around for a light switch. Got it! Ooh. Sorry, you jump scared me. You weren't there before. You just magically appeared. Like a ghost. A dim light from the ceiling sparked on in an instant. And there in front of you was an old-fashioned living room. The house had furniture that came along with it, but it wasn't a set. The pieces were mishmashed. Each chair, table, and bookshelf in a different color. They were covered in transparent sheets of plastic and in dust. The room was a real fireplace made out of brick. In the back, you could see a staircase going up to another floor. Sorry, I had an image of the past. Sorry. You probably saw my face immediately when I had a certain thought. Beautiful. It's even better than in the photos. So much potential inside these walls. Also, already bought furniture, I guess. This was the worst house in the world. I love that. This house is definitely haunted. Yeah. I literally, it was like, she popped up like a ghost. We thought it was okay. It could work once you had your stuff out. You were so disappointed. You're amazed. It could fit in a storybook. You didn't care about the house. You didn't want to be there. The house was definitely haunted. This place was so haunted. Awesome. Trying to think. Okay, I think this. You have to admit, it was cooler than you had let yourself hope for. Your mommy touched the tips of her fingers to the muted blue paint next to her. I'll have to clean as much as we can to make it livable before bed. It'll be a long night. We can unpack more of our things tomorrow, though. I'll be doing much of that on my own. You're gonna be busy. Mommy increased the pitch of her voice, squinting her eyes sweetly. After all. God, horrible. After all, it's the first day of 5th grade. I groaned. Don't want to. She let out a breath gently while she watched you. We got here just in time, clearly. Her eyes drifted closed, and there was a crease in her brows. She seemed further away without having gone anywhere. Even if I'm here early for the job, I was not going to make you be a full week late to class. Being new to a town like this is already going to make you a point of attention. So it sucks because I made a VOD with step 1, but I didn't realize this was also step 1. I'll just say like step 1 continue and step 2. I'll just say that. You can tell if she thought that was a good thing or a bad thing by her tone. But Mommy didn't say any more about that. She lifted her circle scarf over her head, careful to not have it catch on her earrings, left it on top of her suitcase. So, want to see the upstairs? Yeah. Second floor was more of the same. Lonely, sealed away rooms with furniture nobody had been using for ages that were covered up by plastic sheets. Yeah, this house does look haunted. Like a haunted house kind of thing. And lots of dust. You could see the footprints your mommy left behind in the grime as she wandered the halls with wide, amazed eyes. After checking the state of the whole house, Mommy made the decision to leave the furniture in its protection until after the sweeping was finished. There were too many dust bunnies that might jump over to take a seat on your couches if a spot was available. I hope I can remember where I put that dustpan. Room itself shouldn't be too hard to find. You returned to the living room after Mommy got her trusted pair of crafting scissors out of her suitcase. She put her scarf inside while taking the scissors out. Mommy then went through some of the taped up boxes like it was her birthday, and each one was a shiny, unopened present with a ribbon on top. But her gift was just stuff she already owned. One by one, she took out displays that she brought for this very moment, setting them around on the floor wherever there was space. And then she delivered them out into separate piles. A pair of yellow gloves, a fluffy fresh duster, bottle of cleaning spray, and a full roll of paper towels. Mommy had a set of her own, and that was for you. You were gonna need them. There was only one broom and dustpan that she did successfully find. You were gonna take turns using that. The first move in to make the house a place people can actually live in plan was yanking open the streaky windows to get some air flow going. Though before even that, you had to get the locks on the window themselves to come loose. You dug your fingers in between the base of the window frame and latch pressed against it, forcing it to move against its will. With the lock clicked in place on the opposite side, you shoved the window up with both your hands. Your gloves were already patchy with filth. The icy, crisp breeze that flowed in from the outside was a lot more welcoming at this point. Got a good look at the neighborhood while catching your breath. Streetlights had to come on. But you then left the window there to do its job and got back to yours. The two of you went back and forth and up and down around the house to open up everything that you could. Some windows were jammed in place so tight you had to leave it alone for your mommy to get later. The next point on the list was to scrub down all the floors, walls, counters, and every other inch of space where dust could settle, which was every inch of the entire house. You picked a spot and gave it a sweep with the fuzzy head of the duster. God, I can't speak. A nice line of clear wood followed behind your motion. That pattern continued for a while, and whenever the dust layer was gone from your spot, you'd go back over it again with a cleaning spray to really make it shine. Your mommy was able to track down and turn on the heater. Not that you could tell the difference with all the windows wide open. Eventually, you had a short dinner break with your mommy, standing around in the kitchen together with the two of you as dusty as the rest of the house. It was packed meals from the car. Simple sandwiches, fruit with thick peels that wouldn't get smashed on the drive, little bags of granola and pretzels, and juice boxes. There were no groceries. The rickety fridge was off and totally empty when you checked. I was disappointed that there was nothing gross in there. It's a relief there was nothing gross in there. You had prepared for the worst for such an old, practically abandoned house that there wasn't a single bottle of nasty ketchup or a box of unknown leftovers or anything. The trash from your food was dumped into the same giant black garbage bag that you hoped been throwing piles of gray stained paper towels and wads of squished together tape in for the whole night. Somehow the bag was getting full, even though it was big enough to fit your whole body inside. It was a mark of how much work you'd really done. Looking at the house made you think you hadn't even gotten started. The only way to change that was to keep going, as your mommy talked about when encouraging herself to clean again after dinner. You and your mommy polished up the house the best you could for even more hours. But when your usual bedtime arrived, mommy put the duster and scissors down. She wasn't gonna have you stay up late, no matter how excited she was to unpack. She guided you to the first floor bathroom. What the hell was that? TikTok notifications. Alright. She guided you to the first floor bathroom. The ones on the second floor were too dirty to use, plucking her overnight bag off the counter along the way. Mom explained how she'd do a round throughout the whole house to close the windows to keep busy until the house was free and left you to go get ready to sleep. Inside the bag was little baby-sized versions of normal toothpaste and mouthwash containers and sample toothbrushes. All you had for pajamas that night was a green long-sleeve shirt with matching pants. You got as clean as you could with only a sink to use. Trying to get the grimy feeling off your skin wasn't easy and took way longer than usual, but it was crucial. Then you changed into your PJs and let your mommy have her turn. While she was away, we get to choose our favorite, the things we like. I don't know. Favorite stuffed animal. It wasn't something you could sleep without. The furniture was stale plastic wrap, so you crouched down and sat on the rug. Mommy returned only a couple of minutes later wearing her purple pajamas. Ooh, purple. She also had sleeping bags tucked under each of her arms. She shifted one forward to hold against the front of her chest and dropped the other onto the floor. It landed with a puff. Be mine. Your mommy nodded while trying to untie the band that kept the sleeping bag together in a roll. She pulled and pinched at the knot. When it didn't bulge, she lifted the bundle to her face and used her teeth to pry the threaded bands apart from each other. She got it loose and victoriously flapped the bag all the way open. She laid it down in a clear spot on the wooden floor. Here you are, Snow. Already. Okay. You used your feet and rocked back and forth to move yourself across the antique rug. Scoot in towards the sleeping bag without getting off the floor. Mommy chatted casually while spreading out her own bag nearby. We'll need to get some wood so we can actually use that fireplace on nights like these. Did your mommy know how to use a fireplace? I'd never seen one in person until now. And so far, you'd still never seen one that had fire in it. Luckily, the house was warm and cozy even without that, since the windows stopped letting the chill in. The heater worked. That was sort of a surprise to you. Ami soon settled down on the center of her temporary bed. She sat cross-legged with her back solidly straight. Her hands came to rest on the tops of her knees. She made direct eye contact with you. Thank you for the help with the house today. It'll be home before we know it at this rate. I'm tired now, you said, flopping down. A house and a home are the same thing. The way she said it made you roll your eyes. You stretched out your arms, happy with a job well done. You flapped in the bag with a tired huff. You're tired now. I can understand that. She slouched her shoulders, easing some of the stiffness. She asked you how your day went. Guess what happened in the neighborhood today? You had your head behind the fence the entire time. No, mommy. Okay, tell me, dear. After pausing just a little to build suspense, you began to narrate the entire story of the paper airplane adventure. From the moment it hit to the way it led down the forest crossroad, finding Tamarack in the leaf pile and all her surprises, then meeting Chu on his tower with his notebook full of loose pages. Mommy listened with her whole self, leaning forward and grinning wider with each turn you revealed. You wrapped it up by explaining how you returned to the neighborhood with Chu and Tamarack after everything you discovered. It's a way to spend an afternoon. I'm proud of you, Snow. You're a bona fide detective. Fuck that is. I had no idea you got on such winding journey. You kicked your legs up and down in your sleeping bag, but very pleased with her reaction. It was a fun story to tell. Somehow, the events of the day felt like they were a long time ago, or that they happened to someone else and you just heard about it. But it had been real. A paper plane hit your shoulder, you held the note in your hands. I want to keep it. I want to keep the note. I'm going to keep the note. We're going to keep the note. We are going to keep the note. Keep the paper with your thanks as a keepsake. It's nice memories that went with it. With your topic all done, your mommy softly spoke up to share her own thoughts with you. It's odd imagining this entire building collecting dust for all this time, isn't it? No one wanted to live here. Not renters, not the man who owned it. It's a charming house. Yeah, it is. How did we get to have something like this? Maybe someone died in this home. Maybe someone died in this home. It's haunted. Someone died in this home. They wanted to tell someone else it's too haunted. I can't live here. Alright. Mommy pinched her lips together in consideration. Then she kept talking. There aren't a lot of opportunities out in these woods, I suppose. Hold on. I'm pointing the microphone directly towards me because I realize it's not really doing that. At my company, the retiring of a former HR manager was the biggest position I've ever heard of for this area. And even though it didn't open up for people already living in the town, I was asked to relocate to take the position. Creases grew around her eyes the more she thought about it. She got herself before a frown could follow. But it's not an issue, I'm grateful. We'll find our own place in a slow pace of Golden Grove, or at least we'll have each other regardless. Huh, alright. Yeah, you and me are a team. You can call me Mommy. It's great we have each other to talk to about stuff with. We'll always be together, you nod strongly. I think that's more of my thing. Not big talker, just head. Thank you, Snow. Although, wait. Maybe it's not only having each other, since you've already found yourself. God, I forgot about my choice. I forgot about my choice of I found a boy when I marry. I found a boy when I marry. I found a cute boy. That was my A. And I want to marry him. I want to marry. Just some stupid kid shit that I'm gonna say because I feel like that's just some dumb kid shit to say. And I love it. Doesn't matter if you get married or not, it's just funny. Mommy tossed her head to one side. She let out an easy, freeing breath. You were glad she hadn't forgotten. That was important news. Then your mommy stretched out her legs, fully across her sleeping bag, wiggling her toes inside the black socks she had on. Seeing Mommy right there on the floor with you was cool. You didn't hang out together during bedtime like this most nights. It was special. So about that, your eyelids were about to tape themselves with this sticky, gritty stuff your eyes made when it was extra late. Right, dear. You should get inside the sleeping bag now, before you blink out on top of it. That sounded like a pretty good idea. Scooping your stuffed animal into both of your arms, you shimmied into an open end of the bag. It was made of fabric that it was so smooth it wasn't difficult to do. Sorry, I forgot there was a dog in my room. You moved farther down until the edge was to your chin. You were wrapped up like a loaf of bread in a grocery bag. Molly got to her feet, taking a short jog over to the far wall of the room. She lifted a finger to the light switch, but kept her gaze down on you. Her expression on her face was gentle. Good night, Snow. Good night, Mommy. The room went pitch black with a click. While your eyes were trying to adjust, you heard the shuffling sounds of Mommy. She joined you on the floor again. You know those times where you're sleeping in the dark or something like that, but you can still like see. So you see like things like a person or something like that. I don't know why I'm talking about this. Anyway, this noise soon stopped. Mommy didn't talk anymore. There weren't sounds of cars passing outside. There was a thumping in your ears, and you thought you might have heard a creak somewhere. The night noises were a lot different than what you had experience with. They were so quiet and distant. It made you notice them more than if they were clear. You'd have to get to know the sounds better. There's another part of the house's personality. You're okay with that. It was normal to need time to get familiar with each other. You press your eyes shut, and in your head was thoughts of Chew and Tamarack. You toss and turn in a squishy cocoon, waiting to sleep so tomorrow could come sooner, but too excited to do so. It was way too long of a night. Then your second day of Golden Grove arrived. Oh. Wait. Ah. I don't think there's anything we're gonna do here. Head accessories. Ooh, I didn't even know it. What's this? I guess this. There's doors. Neck accessories. Alright. Ooh. How about this? This looks good. Special layers. What? Okay. What is this? Can't see it. Can't see it. The only thing I can think about this is like, I don't know what most of these are. What is this one? This one. I don't know. My body's gone. My body's gone. Special layers. This is more for culture stuff. I don't know much what each of these are, so I'm not gonna do that. Hold on. Overlayers. Okay. There you go. All right. That's it. Right. What is this? This is how I move. But your second day has only just arrived. Only one corner of the world outside the window had any sunlight. The rest was all shadows. Lights in the house had to be turned on for you to see your own hands. You thought should be criminal to make people wake up this early. That's me. But your home phone wasn't working yet, so I couldn't call the police or the mayor to complain. I'm gonna call. Yes. Am I Phil Lester? I'm gonna call the army. I don't want to wake up this early. I'm gonna call the army. Yep, we're calling the army. At least your mommy didn't start making you do chores. The unpacking wouldn't be started again until a lot later. That's what your mommy said when you were brushing your teeth. For now, you both only had what was already out. The fruit around to eat was still the same stuff from yesterday. It was what you had for breakfast already, and could see your mom packing it into a brown paper bag for lunch too. That was the last preparation she had to do for you for your school. You were pretty sure. Your mommy really wanted you to. Sorry, there's a bug on my screen. Your mommy really wanted you to be the one to get your supplies for the day together. She put stacks of stapled paper, a notebook, your pencil case, a ruler, and more into your backpack. Mommy had kept the pack on the middle seat of the car to make sure it'd be right there when it was time to use it for class. If it had gone missing, maybe you would have had to carry your own school stuff in a cardboard box. The same way you had to bring everything else you own to this place in big boxes. Hold on. Sorry, really quick leaving and coming back. Right. If it had gone missing, maybe you would have had to carry your own school stuff in a cardboard box. The same way you had to bring everything else you own to this place in big boxes. Press one of your cheeks to your knees that were pulled against your chest, scrunching up in a ball while sitting on your sleeping bag. You'd already been made to get dressed, but that didn't stop you from getting back in bed. It wasn't like there was some other place to sit anyway. You'd be leaving the new old house and the neighborhood, and soon all of the parts of Golden Grove you've gone to see so far. The next stop into the unknown was North Acres Elementary School. You kind of wondered why your mommy was bothering with making you bring so many things. None of the stuff in the backpack would make you prepared for that. But school thoughts were shaken out of your head when a muffled thumping sound filled up the air. Mommy slowly lowered her full hands down to the counter. And at the same time, her head and eyebrows went up. Guess already? At this hour? Your mommy left your lunch bag incomplete on the tabletop and went to investigate the knocking. Dash forward to beat your mom to opening the door. I don't know. You got up to go see too. You press your hands into the shiny, stuffed bedding underneath as you leaned onto your feet to get off the floor. You were able to join Mommy before she opened the door. She pulled the long handle down with a click and tugged the door forward. It squeaked open. You glanced around, squinting your eyes to adjust to the complete brightness inside to the pale dawn outside. Oh, fuck. There he is. Standing tall on the welcome mat, seemingly totally at home at your home, was the new friend you had met the day before, Mr. Chulin. Chu's fluffy hood was tucked snugly around his head. He didn't usually do that, at least based on how much you knew was usual from him. Maybe it was the air was somehow even more skin-prickling cold in the morning than it was during the day or evening. You shuddered from the wind coming in through the opening. When he caught sight of you there, a twinkly grin took over his face. He popped onto the balls of his feet. What? Sorry, that's a weird. Balls of your feet? Is that a thing? What is the balls of your feet? Toes? Toes? What? Sorry, I'm getting confused. I'm getting confused by the wording. All right, shut up. He popped onto the balls of his feet. I don't know, maybe heels. I don't know. Oh, okay, maybe toes. I don't know. Getting even taller and cheered a greeting. Good morning. Seeing who it was, you scoop past your mommy to stand by Chew on the porch. Theoretically shove past your like scooch over. My husband is here. All right. All right. Nervously shifted behind your mommy. Started in place, then dove to hide behind your mommy's legs. That's weird. Stayed there to greet your guests. Stood in place, wondering if it was too late to go back to the living room. Move. Chu laughed openly, completely pleased that you'd come over to him. He married your move, so he was facing you instead of mommy. Hello. Good morning. You visited me, he said, confusing. Thanks for coming to my house. What are you doing here? You asked cutely. What are you doing here? Are you here to rob me? Like I robbed you? What are you doing here? You asked curiously. You waved excitedly. You waited bashfully. Crowley waited there for an explanation. Hold on. Someone's here. I need to tell them I'm live. Sorry about that. I had to bring in groceries. Nothing happened. Nothing happened. Alright. Nothing happened. That's great. Maybe bad. Who knows? That's how you look at it. Anyway. You're visiting me? Good morning to you. Thanks for coming to my house. Good morning. Thanks. Chu, stayed put in place, but... Stayed put in place. Oh, God, I can't speak! Stayed put in the new place he took, but angled his head up and over to give his focus to your mommy. I am Mr. Chu Lin. I'm your neighbor, and the same age as Mr. Snow Parker. The two of us met yesterday. Please don't say anything about the fucking husband things. Please don't say anything about the husbands thing. Ah, yes, I've heard. I've been anticipating getting to meet you, and those feelings were well placed. You're so polite. Chu strained out the line of his bandanas with both hands, giggling cheekily as he made direct eye contact with you. Well, if somebody has been talking about me, I hope it was the good stuff. Now I should introduce myself as well. I'm Mrs. Parker, Snow's mother. It's nice to meet you. May I speak with Snow, Mrs. Parker? Something I wanted to talk to him about. What? 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 What do you... What? I have an idea to look directly at the camera. I do need to adjust my camera. There you go. Thoughtfully, your mommy's glance drifted down to you. Without looking back at him, your mommy replied, "That'd be fine. I'm finishing getting your bag ready, Snow. You two can chat." Chu clasped his hands together primly. "Thank you very much." Alright, he's gonna leave. Mommy let a content smile rest on his face as he walked back inside the house, leaving you alone with Chu. You look back at him eagerly. It was only the morning and something good was already happening. What did you want to say? Chu didn't beat around the bush with you. He probably didn't with anyone. He came right out with what he had in mind. Want to walk to school together? It's the first day. Cool. Also, like, he also has a crush on us because we picked crush. That's fun. He squared his shoulders and held out a hand to you, cutting off points on his finger. We're going to the same place and the same grade. There's a good chance we'll even be in the same class. Going together would make everything so easy. I'm sorry you had a disagreement, but that's just easier for me, wasn't it for you? You stare at him with wide eyes. Only if you're sure, thank you. Yeah! Enthusiastic. Alright! He popped up an enthusiastic double thumbs up. And guess what else is a reason for why we should walk together? What? His gaze got sharper, but it didn't feel scary at all. The glance was like a fancy cut jewel rather than a pointy weapon. It's because I want you to be there. So, yeah. I think it makes a lot of sense that we'd go together. I don't know what that means. But anyway, with his hands in his pockets, Chu shifted the whole top half of his body diagonally over to one side. The tilt of his head really showed off the bend in his self-pleased smile. Oh! He flung an arm back out and arched his arched the fingers across the air in front of both of your faces. It might have been to stop you before you could say anything, or to keep himself from forgetting what else he wanted to talk about. And it won't just be us. I'm gonna keep going down the cul-de-sac to Granny's house so I can ask Tamarack next. So that's it. What do you think about all three of us walking together? It's a good plan, right? Yeah, that does make sense. I'll come. Yeah, it's a great idea. I want to go. Yeah, I'll come. It's a shock. You have smart ideas sometimes. I'm just secretly calling him dumb. Hey, you're dumb. You're stupid. I think you're really, really fucking dumb, Chew. I fucking hate you so goddamn. Alright. I guess, though, you wished you could have gone alone with Chew. No, you had to change your mind. You're not in agreement. You shook your head. You had to change your mind. It's a great idea. I want to go. You swung your hands behind you and spoke out again. I'll get my backpack and tell Mommy we're going. Cool. I'll wait here for you. Parted with Chew for a second, but didn't bother closing the door. The sound of her feet against the floor only made a noise in a huge house. You couldn't have snuck up on Mommy if you tried. Each step you took brought you closer and made the smile on her face grow larger, but she didn't get distracted from her job. Her gaze stayed stuck into the corner. Mommy placed one more paper into your backpack and snuck the plastic clasps on the top flap closed. With that secured, she probably picked the bag up by the loop handle. She lowered herself down to your height by bending her knees low. Then she offered the backpack over to you. Exceptional timing, dear. Here, you're set to go. It was nice and light when you took the pack from her. That wouldn't last. Soon you'd have actual school books to bring around with you. What happened with our guest? Did he leave? You answered the question while looping one arm after the other into wide openings of your backpack straps. He's still out there. Q wants to walk to school with him. Can I go? Shift your whole grip to the dangly ends of the armbands, then gave them a swift tug to tighten the straps, fully securing the bag against you. Came up to talk to you. To ask you that? Talk about convenient. The young Mr. Lin must know the way far better than I do. You certainly can walk together. That was exactly what you thought she'd say. You could count on her to understand. As she smiled, her face lit up softly like the early morning sunshine outside. Mommy pinched the tip of your chin between her thumb and her pointer finger. Enjoy the first day. There's only one of them per year. Not exactly happy to go to school. You didn't even pretend it wasn't. She let go in order to place her hands on her thighs, needing to balance herself as she stiffly straightened up to her full height. Your mommy folded her arms proudly, watching you leave for the day. You were going ahead without her. Though the open door you could see Chu waiting patiently on your porch still. He turned back to the house, instead looking around the neighborhood. He came to his side and that caught his attention. But his gaze didn't go to yours. It went right to the backpack you had on. Chu grinned hopefully. I told Mommy, it's okay. Chu smacked his hands together enthusiastically. I didn't even say his name, I just said his name. Alright, time to go. You know, Snow, it's been forever since I gotta walk to school with a friend. You perked your ears, going super alert. You said you were friends! Only happened a second ago. Whatever played in your head and made your stomach feel fluttery. You were friends. I knew you liked me. God. Chew, thanks for being my friend. I'm glad we're friends. Me too, Chew. This is great. I knew you liked me, he said jokingly. A smirk went across his whole face. Chew was full of certainty. I do, and I knew you liked me. Chew swiveled all the way around on his heels. He firmly planted his feet into the floorboards of the porch to close out his move. He then strode forward and leapt over the little steps to get on the ground. Chew had places to be, and nothing was going to stand in his way. Happily, you went along with him down the stone path, past the fence, and onto the neighborhood sidewalk. It took less than a minute to go around the bending curve of your neighborhood that led to the less pointy, less colorful home on the street. Tamarik's house. Also her Amin Opa's house. Chew and you wandered right into the uncharted territory of their porch. Let's see. Chew tapped out a rhythmic set of knocks. Chew brought his arms to the side, shook his head to readjust the way his hair fell around his shoulders, and positioned himself squarely in the center of the entryway. The old door began to jiggle in its frame like it was shivering cold from being outside this early too, but someone was fiddling with the doorknob on the other side. And then the door swung wide open with a clattering yank and a gust of flowery perfumed air coming out from inside the house. Still clasping the handle and leaning her head against the wood, Tamarik was there to greet you. She had her bag and scarf on for the day already. Hello. Good morning, Tamarik. Her eyes popped open. She hadn't looked to see who was at her door before saying hello, but she could tell who it was from the answer. Tamarik's tone of voice lightened even more. Chew and Snow. Both here. Hi. Good morning, Tamarik. Chew didn't think you could make it to school. I want to see what that is. Chew followed your invitation with a nod. We're all going that way. Okay, no. Right. Whatever. I thought that was going to be rude, and just see that reaction. Good morning, Tamarik. Chew kept his very proper pose and offered Tamarik the same invitation he had given you. I'm glad we didn't miss you. We're all going to the same school, right? It'd be cool to walk as a group. What the? She blinked rapidly, many times, and all in a row. In the soft pink light, her eyelashes looked almost like shimmering dragonfly wings. Okay, I want to come. She twisted almost the whole way around, turning her back to you. You could just barely glimpse the darkening hall beyond her. Tamarik then leaned over, bending her knees and powerfully showered into the depths of the gray house. Hold on, where's my water? There it is. Found the water. All right. I'm going to go now. A loud, high-pitched call echoed through the hallway. Have a good day, young lady. Tamarik hopped forward. It was small, but that was all it took to go from being in her house to being in the outside world. She tugged the doorknob with her to slam the door shut. I'm ready. The quickness of all of that was too much, and she needed a second to catch up with it. But when he did, he chuckled. Perfect. And by the way, people don't always call me Chew, especially at school. I got a nickname, it's Autumn, because that's what my name means. Alright, okay, I like Chew. You do? Thanks. I like Chew too. Decided to keep using his actual name too. Chew lazily settled his hands on his hips and his eyes moved way off to the side, even though there was nothing special to see that way. Guess we've actually got to go to class. Yeah. She pumped her fists in the air in the pattern that matched her pace of yeahs. Oh. She cheered along. Or we could not. We could not go to school, we could just skip it. I hope we're not gonna be late. Hope we're not gonna be late. Don't worry, I won't let you be. Close together, you, Chew, and Tamarak tramped off the white wooden porch. The full set of cul-de-sac kids hit the road again. The trip was the opposite of last time. The sun was coming up instead of going down, and you were leaving the neighborhood instead of going back to it. So I want to make sure everything looks good. Stream's looking good, okay. But that wasn't really what stood out to you. It was a little bit amazing you already could compare it to last time. And you could guess that this journey with them wasn't going to be the actual last time it ever happened. It just become the last time it happened before the new next time. The first part of school trip wasn't hard, but there was only one way out of your neighborhood unless someone hiked out into wherever the woods went. That would be cool. Maybe you be able to do that someday. Your actual path forward had you brush past the forest fork that originally led you to meeting Chew and Tamarak. But you weren't stuck with the same limits as before. This morning, you moved right on by without even stopping to check what might be hidden back there. Now, you traveled even further. The woods crowded in closer and closer around the one road that led out. Suddenly, structures began to appear in between the bushes. The thick overhang of leaves pulled apart these to show the sky. The world unfolded ahead of you. Sunshine climbed mountains to just barely tickle your cheeks, while the stars still clustered against your back. Hold on, there's a dog. Sunshine climbed mountains to just barely tickle your cheeks while the stars still clustered against your back. You were right in the center of a windy mountain path. Sorry. It flowed over the uneven ground, blanketing every small bump and bend like a black river. Along the street, huge wooden poles rose into the sky in a row that rivaled the trees. Stretching phone lines and reaching branches wove the whole town together. Even though Golden Grove... Wait, I'm actually remembering the name. Wait, isn't that similar to the first game? The place that we lived? I don't know. I swear to God. Maybe. Maybe. Like, what if these two worlds of our life begins and always and our lives and now and forever are like playing with each other? Like maybe like 2000 and I don't know 8 and then like 2012 and like they're all going the same path in life. I think that would be fun. The vast wilderness was as much a neighbor to the residents as their real people neighbors. Tumrock trampled over the grass, swishing her arms in full-length swings in front of her. She didn't get anywhere near the Tumrock. Chu's stride was a lot breezier. He took a spot in the line closest to the road, and even checked for cars. His eyes were aimed at the now viewable sky, in and up somewhere in between them. If Tumrock was a swoosh, and Chu was a breeze, you were a storm. Each step was heavy and crushing. The dirt had to deal with your bad mood if you had to deal with a new school. Oh, there we go. All that air went out of the window when Chu started moving his hands around even more than Tumrock. He friendly stuck his fingers in and out of each one of his pockets, while poking his tongue out at the corner of his mouth. It was kind of worrying you. What if he forgot something important? Maybe then you could lend him whatever he was looking for? Ha! And it was paper. It wasn't his special tan pages. The thing Chu grabbed was a thick, folded packet of white printer paper that was covered all over in tiny ink words. You could instantly tell what it was. That many papers stapled together with that many little words on them only came from one place: school. Chu held it close to his face. He had his nose completely in what was basically a book. But for some reason, he started to talk to you and Tumrock. Which room did you get? For a second, Chu peeked over to the pages to look at both of you. Who's your teacher? I don't know. Tumrock thought hard, but she didn't find an answer in her head. She squished her hands under the flap of her bag without unbuckling it. She had to find her own papers. I remember it. My mom told me. I think the room number is... I'm in room 24 with Mrs. Murray. Chu used his thumbs to bend the paper down, then stopped hiding his face. You could see he was smiling. Wait, that's my room too! Tumrock waved her pack in the air with a crinkly flurry. Me 3! We're gonna be stuck together forever. You joked. Oh no. Oh, the horror. Okay, whatever. Your mommy had given you the papers. Chu probably got it from his mom and dad. And Tumrock from her Ami and Oppa. Despite being kind of different, the papers were all the same. As Marcel in the regular spot in Chu's face, all according to the play. Like, is it different if you're like actually mean it? Ugh. God, we're all same room. He seems like, oh, You actually mean that? You actually mean that? You hate us. Alright. Alright, let's go back. We're roommates! He didn't need the packet for anything else. So he stuffed it into his pant pocket with a shrug of one shoulder. There's only 3 5th grade classes we could have been in. When Chu made sure it was deep enough to not just fall out, he brought both of his arms into an even bigger shrug and chuckled too. Sorry, there's a dog at my door. But Mrs. Murray, I almost made it without her being my teacher. It was close. Tamrak peered into his face with wide eyes, leaning over so much that you walked into her. She didn't have to say what her question was with words. Chu got it. Don't worry, she's nice. She's the best teacher for you two. Chu made a very serious and reassuring okay sign with his fingers, but in an instant it snapped into a pointing gesture. And you're probably gonna be shocked, but Mrs. Murray isn't just a teacher, she's a mom. She has kids that are just her kids, not students. Wow. I don't know. Okay, I don't know. But now I know where we're really going. I can bring us right to the door. The extra burst of confidence. What? I need to get the dog away from the door. Hey, hopefully that does it. The extra burst of confidence got Chu to take a few long strides ahead of you, and Tamarak keeping his chin high. Tamarak bounced across the grass, kicking her knees high to catch up. She didn't let him keep the lead he took. Happily went up with you. You ran forward to get back into the middle of the row. You were greeted with grins from both of them. Your steps came back to a steady rhythm between the two of them. Between the three of them. Wait, what? Between the three of you. Why didn't you want Mrs. Murray for your teacher? 'Cause she knows me. Not like how all the teachers have met me, 'cause I go to that school. His dark brown eyes stretched open as wide as they could. His whispered words were pulled out just as long. It was a deep, secret confession. She really knows me. Outside of school and everything. The seriousness of it only lasted a second. Chu laughed at it instead. It's gonna be tough to get away with stuff now. Instead, Tamarak put a shocked expression Chu had just put away. Wow, I've never seen a teacher outside of school. When do they leave? Pretty late usually, but they do go home and do errands and stuff. I've experienced it. Oh. One word with 2 letters said in a weak voice. You couldn't manage more than that. Tamrock eyeballed you from over her shoulder. She clearly saw something upsetting there, because she firmly stuck her hands to her hips and puffed at you. Snow, what's wrong? You're being so sad. You tripped over your words before when trying to say them. But Tamrock's words almost made you fall over for real. Chew tugged the top edge of his hood over his forehead, but it didn't hide his awkward pinched expression. Her approach had caught him by surprise just as much as you. The call was made, so he let the huff go and joined in with what was being said. She does kind of a point. Are you doing okay? Leave me alone, you snapped. Ooh, that's no. Today is horrible, you shouted at them furiously. You whispered. Tamrock and Chew frowned, so now no one was happy. I didn't know what it's like to move someplace else or go to a school that's different than before, not even a tiny bit. But thinking about me doing it, I feel like it'd be tough. Since you're really doing it, I guess that means you're pretty tough. You too, Tamrock. She flipped her frown upside down. We're on an adventure. Things are getting good. You'll see. I should do kids' voices. I just haven't been doing them. Her excitement for you weren't even sure what about this made her so excited. Maybe Tamrock thought change was fun and she didn't care what changed. But no matter what the spark was, it couldn't be put out by anything. Chew bounced off her positivity. Yeah, great stuff is right around the corner. Though maybe not having to go to class after that part. It got Tamrock to laugh with that. Her hands squished into her cheeks in delight. Bad things were you were glad to have Chew and Tamrock here. Maybe at least lunch should be good though, right? You tried to take part in the joking. Like the way you think. Somehow your own face lit up in a smile. You still had no idea what you were going to do at a new school in a whole new life. But not every little piece of your world was terrible. You were able to push yourself to keep going. The longer the walk went on, the more Tamrock's gaze was pulled to the forced edge along the road instead of what was right in front of her. Her steps drifted unevenly. Ensure the music is good. Yeah, I think that's good. You couldn't blame her. You had done the same thing during the trip a few times. But you weren't the only one who noticed her focus. Hey, so it's kind of funny how both of you like the woods that much. It's the only nice place I've seen so far. The dog again. Hold on. dog's at my door, but doesn't want to come in. She said in the plainest way possible. What did she say? She said in the plainest way possible, and the words made Chu gasp hard enough to cough. Have you been places other than the forest? Yeah, lots. They're not good. I can't believe it. Look out, the bright side. There's more force for her and more neighborhood for you. Shu shook off the shock Tamrat's statement hit him with. He turned his cheek to the front as he rolled his shoulders and was winding up for a comeback. I'm just gonna ignore the dog. I can't ignore it. I guess I can give you one thing. It's pretty special kind of fun that, in all my years living here, you can only ever have out in these woods. Nowhere else. Ellie, what is it? He'd cast a reel and Tamrak was hooked on it. She immediately became invested in whatever mystery Chu had up in his line. I'm not gonna tell you. What? Tamrak shrieked in a tone so high it scared a bird away who was minding its own business in the tree above. It was a hook, line, and sinker. The beat of its wings fluttering through the air matched Chu's giggling. He brought a hand to his chin and leveled a mischievous glance at Tamrak. One day you'll understand. Probably. Come on! And that was it. He closes up his lips, folded his arms, and settled in, not explaining for the rest of the walk. Tamrak couldn't accept that, or couldn't get the hint. She pestered him with a passion in her words, getting stronger every time she repeated them. Tell me the thing! Tell me the special thing, Chu! Tell me the special thing! Too funny. You could watch that all day. The conversation of Tamrak's attempts to squeeze Chu for information and the snickers that escaped from Chu continued while you headed towards your goal. Down that road some more, over the crosswalk, past the main street, taking a turn at the corner. That was when the wildest building you'd ever seen came into view. There had been taller ones, cause that one only had 2 floors, but there was a lot of those floors. North Acres Elementary School. The name made sense. You wonder how many acres it was. Dozens of other kids were pouring out from different paths and mixing together under the front arcs above the giant door. Try to stand up straight, wanting to do things right. You went through the door together. Chew and Tomrock stayed even closer to you than on the walk there. Oh my goodness. Sorry about that. Didn't even know that looked like that. No way. Ooh. We get to see inside a school because for Our Life Begins and Always, there was no inside. It was just the outside. Inside was a long hall with different doors and a staircase on the side. It was shiny and dull, like it had been cleaned so hard for so long it made everything even more worn down than normal. Poster boards with a bunch of paper sheets tacked on lined the walls. Nobody was even looking at them. The messages they had might never have been read. So where is this? Because usually you go to school during like August, but it's never like fall weather. Or maybe that's where I live. It's like that. I don't know. Poster boards with a bunch of paper sheets tacked on line the walls. Nobody was even looking at them. The messages they had made never have been read. Might never have been read. The floors had a checkered tile pattern. Can't speak. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. You're trying to watch someone play a visual novel, and I'm sucking at this. I'm sucking at this. I can't read. I'm horrible at reading. The floor had. God damn it. Poster boards with a bunch of paper sheets tacked on lined the walls. Nobody was even looking at them. The messages they had might never have been read. The floors had a checkered tile pattern. Some of the kids around made sure to only walk on one of the colors and avoid the other. And it was loud. There was too much sound from the crowds for the hall to hold. It echoed around, which made it even louder. This place was your school now. Chu tapped on your shoulder and pointed with his other hand. You figured that was his way to say you had to keep going without having to yell so you could hear. Three of you pressed past the other students, making sure you didn't get separated. Step by step, you climbed upwards and forwards. Chu waved a hand towards the right door, which you reached the top. You'd arrive for the first day of class round time. Ooh. The bit of cold you'd brought inside of the school on the tip of your nose and over your cheeks had finally drifted off your face. It was nice and warm when you went into the room. Your brand new class, 5th grade room 24, smelled like people hard at work. Cut construction paper, crayons, glue, anything could be made with that. There were tons of leaves stuck to the different colored walls, climbing around the windows, hanging from shelves, and sneaking out from behind boards. There are some of the things where some of those things could be made. Kids sat together in close groups. The desks were pushed up to make bigger tables. There was just one chair by itself, right at the front, or the back if the way in was the front door. Tomrock took in a loud breath of waxy air. Wow, I thought it was gonna be ugly. It is ugly. Oh, two pages. This looks like my old kindergarten class. Yeah, this doesn't look really all too elementary or like late elementary. Looking like my elementary kindergarten class. Yeah. It was a good thing to Tom Rock, he guessed. It wasn't to you. Chu shrugged his backpack off to the floor. When it hit the ground, a puff of air came out from the not-so-zipped top. Nothing in the place caught his eye, in a good way or a bad way. It was nothing around him. It was like nothing around him existed. Chu just watched you and Tamarak look. He chuckled at the faces you both made. The classes looked the same for every room, and every grade, every year. It was that he couldn't see what you did. It wasn't that he couldn't see what you did, it was that he'd already made 100, he had already seen 110 times more, or more. Chu knew school as well as he knew everything else in Golden Grove. He kicked his backpack behind him to be up against the wall, never glancing down. There was already a bunch of other bags there, sat one by one along the far side of the room. They were almost completely hidden under a row of hooks that had coats and jackets and stuff cluttered over them in stacked piles. There weren't enough holders for all the layers people brought. Okay, you can't hear the dogs. Okay, good. You're pretty lucky. This is your first time here, and you're gonna have to do it once. We're gonna graduate and go to a different school next year. We'll all be new kids then. He talked while he pulled his arms out of his jacket. You'd always seen him wear so far. He tossed it on top of a rounded lump of other jackets with a hook somewhere below it. Tamarok waited, watched, and then she tugged at the end of her scarf to undo the knot it was wrapped in. She talked too. I told you this place was weird and never changed. That made Chu at her. The sound was exactly like the noise his backpack made a minute ago. School is different than the entire town, Tamarak. Tamarak didn't say more words against that. She just got her tiptoes to sling her untied scarf over Chu's jacket, building a mountain stuff on the one little hook even higher. Chu shoved his bandana deep into one of his pockets and lifted up his other shoulder. You're right, that class is always the same. Seeing Chu without his fluffy jacket felt like seeing a lion without its mane. He folded his arms high across his chest and gazed upon what you were starting to get was his kingdom. Why are they barking? You can hear the dogs, so that's a sign. That is a sign I should stop them. People. have one dog with me. What? Huh? What? What is it? Huh? Huh? What is it? Oh, you wanna go? You came inside. Hiya. 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 Where you wanna go? All right. He had all the pride of a lion, even without the jacket. Though Chu acted like that was it for getting ready, he hadn't taken his gloves off. Was he gonna wear those to class? Tamrock held tight to the strap of her bag. It for sure wasn't gonna. Can't speak. Oh God. Tamrock held tight to the strap of her bag. It for sure wasn't gonna be with the rest of the packs. That meant she was definitely already done with the putting your stuff away part of getting to school. Tamrock's overalls were... Stop it. No. Bad girl. No! Stop it. I'm barking. Why are you barking? No. We're not doing this. Nope. We're not doing this. We're not doing that. No. No. Stop it. Big girl. What are you doing? Why are you wiggling on my arms? Huh? Huh? April, you can't go. You're just gonna bark out there. You're just gonna bark out there. Whatever. April. She's annoying. That's it. She's annoying. It's the personality she has. Will you stop barking? Or will you continue barking? And being annoying? Alright. Alright. Tamrock's overalls. Your overalls were kind of short too. They didn't cover her whole legs. Her ankles had long socks and yellow rubber rain boots to keep them warm. But you had to wonder if she didn't feel cold the same way most people did. Took off all of your stuff too. Scratch the finger into your head when you put your hat up on the wall with everything else. Not having your jacket on made you feel different. You weren't coming or going anywhere anymore. You were really staying there in that place for a lot of hours. But all you could do was find a hook pile to leave it behind on until later. Good morning and welcome, students. Glance over your shoulder. In the open doorway was a new person for you to have to know. Her braids, did match a few of the kids there, but she wasn't gonna be sitting in the desks with them. She was twice as tall as everyone in the room. It had to be the teacher, Mrs. Murray. Her soft brown eyes. April. No. April, stop barking. Hey. Come on, go. You want to seriously go? We can go. We can go. Alright. Pepper. Pepper. I can't stop her from barking. Anyway, her soft brown eyes looked down over you and your neighbors while she tapped a finger against her freckled, speckled face. The pattern on her skin was almost like stars. If the sky was like... No, what? I'll be right back. I'll be right back. Oh, sorry about that. Let me do something. Let us see. Alright. The pattern on her skin was almost like stars. If the sky was light at night, and the stars were the darker part. Her rosy pink lips parted into a smile. She inclined her chin towards Chu. Nice to meet you here, Mr. Chulin. This will be a good year. Yeah. Chu stretched the word out as far as it could go, and at the same time he opened his arms wide. He turned his head away too. He had the kind of tone your mommy would have had when she had her work friends over and they asked if they could set her up on a blind date. Squeakily cheerful, but not real. He was trying to be nice, but didn't try that hard. When his eyes were rolling away, his gaze passed over to you and got stuck there. A sly grin tugged at the corners of his mouth as the sound of his voice went from off-key to a lullaby. Maybe. What? Sorry. Mrs. Murray's pencil-pointy eyebrows lifted. She blinked one time, then her own smile grew. It was shared with you and Tamarack next. Hello, I'm your teacher, Mrs. Murray. Am I right to say that you're Tamarack Bauman and Snow Parker? I'm Tamarack. You joked. Your master plan was ruined by Tamarack's giggling as soon as you said it. She tried to cover her mouth, but it didn't help hide the sound. Revealing the trick, your teacher's gaze went razor sharp. Are you sure you're Tamarack Bauman? The giggle was up. Nah, I'm Snow. Tamarack, the actual one, bopped her hand in the air and twisted it to swing her bag so that it hung behind her back. I'm the real Tamarack. That is so great. Mrs. Murray spoke sweetly in a way that was just nice. It wasn't surprised or relieved to find out the answer. She probably didn't need to ask to know who you were. The teachers knew a lot. If you'd be so kind, would you mind coming over to my desk? Over here in the far corner, I'd like to talk to you two before class begins. Okay. Tamarack finally lowered her hands back down to her sides. She still bumped her bag around by pushing it up and down with her butt. It clattered loudly and Mrs. Murray pretended not to hear it. Did we do something wrong already? Yeah, that's my question. It's like, usually you do this every year. I can go to, yes, teacher? Thank you, both of you. She gestured lightly with her hands for you to come, and left the doorway. Chu turned its head to follow the teacher. More and more of his dark hair eclipsed your view of the rest of him as she walked away. When you lost sight of his face, there had to been a frown on it. After she was really gone, he swung back towards you and Tamarack. Chu was smirking then. Good luck out there. He tipped over on one foot and bent his body weight down. His other leg kicked into the air. He could balance better than a flamingo. Chu slipped a hand under his jacket on the hook, and also under Tamarack's scarf, which was still on top of it, and dug around in the fabric. Chu didn't come out empty-handed. He got a hold of his favorite notebook and pencil. Chu slowly lifted his chest up and brought his one hovering foot down to the earth again. That whole thing was grateful, but he followed it by wildly waving his notebook goodbye to you, and a paper fell out when he did it. Ah! Tarak squealed, trying to talk, but too fast, so none of it was real words. He reached over her arms to Chu graspingly, like she could pick him up and play him back when he dropped his thing. That didn't work either. He stepped away on light feet, carefree, and joined with one of the groups at the desks. They all raised their head and waved when he arrived. He was gone, and the teacher was waiting. Tarak squinted her dark red eyes tightly. She directed her gaze towards you because it wasn't like anyone in the room could understand her. You gave her a look back. Scatterbrain, he said with a grin. Isn't he so cute? She absolutely cheered her answer. No. What? Picked up a paper and peeked at what it said. He made a beeline to the tan page at the dark blue carpet and snatched it off the ground before someone could step on it or blow it away and get lost in the middle of the forest. Putting it in your pocket, you read over the top side and flip it over to see the back. It was a list of food and other things. Maybe he was trying to remember stuff to get when he went to the store with his parents. You tucked it away in your pocket. Now it's taken care of. Tamarak pretended to be a jack-in-the-box like she did yesterday. This time, she was bending on her knees before bouncing straight. Her fluffy locks of hair shook around her round cheeks. Come on, Snow. Sorry, I'm eating. She skipped off to the teacher's desk, all smiles. He caught up to her in no time. She walked the rest of the way side by side. Off in the corner of the other side of the room was the teacher's old, dark brown desk. At least the very top of it, of the wood was dark. The inner part was a lot lighter. You could see a lot of the tiny cuts and scratches over the surface. It was as far away from the desk as it could be. I guess that was so she could have these kinds of talks without everyone else hearing the whole thing. Mrs. Murray didn't sit in a cool rolling chair that went behind the desk. She stayed in front and only leaned her back against the top edge. She got to talk to you in Tarmac gently because she didn't have to push her voice across a piece of furniture that separated students and teachers. Appreciate for coming to this meeting. I wanted to let you know a little about today. What you can expect from your first day. Why? Well, this class has a unique arrangement of the students, but you're the only two who have never attended this school before. Everyone else is simply returning after summer break. I'd like to introduce you during roll call later. I want all the other kids to know who you are. Oh. Tamrak flicked at the buckles of her bag. They made a clicking sound when she hit them up and a thump when they landed back down. Her gaze moved around too. The meeting wasn't exciting anymore. Alright. Alright. Not exactly thrilled. Most schools did things like that. Mrs. Murray smiled approvingly at how you and Tamarack handled that first assignment. Make sure it goes well. The teacher slid her hands across the desktop behind her and spread her fingers out wide. In a couple minutes, be letting the class take their assigned seats. You'll have those spots for the rest of the year. I made a sleeping plan already, but there's a lot of wiggle room to help you get comfortable if you'd like. Tamarack's hands flew from her bag to her cheeks. That sounded like a smack. Does that mean me and Snow get to sit together because we're roommates and neighbors and friends? She was right. You held your breath and balled up your hands into fists, wanting to know if you get to be with Tamarack the whole year or not. A twinkle in Mrs. Murray's eyes when she finally said what you're hoping for. You thought she might have paused on purpose to make it more dramatic. Yes, I can put you next to each other. Woohoo! On. I'm almost finished eating. It made Tamarack explode in celebration. She popped up on one foot, pulling the other up near her chest, and her arms went in the air. Snow, we're gonna sit together! Alright. Finish eating so we can talk more. Yeah! Got something then. Anything else? Can Tamarack and I sit with Chu? You're both your house neighbors. Tamarack and Chu had to be your seat neighbors too. Mrs. Murray was a really proper lady from what you'd seen. She didn't have one wrinkle on her fancy suit, but creases suddenly appeared around her eyes and mouth after she heard that. Ah. Mine spelled not again. Oh. Sorry, I ate spicy food. Oh, no. There were a lot of students who wanted to sit next to him last year and didn't get to. It's their turn now. Their eyes went up so high that he could have lost it. There's so many people who want to sit by Chu. It was kind of rude to the teacher, but you had to turn your head right around to look at the guy you'd been talking about. He was leaning over a bunch of desks from before and still talking to those other kids you didn't know. There was a big smile on every face. Oh. Alright. So he's a popular kid. He's the popular person. You only moved in enough to be looking to the side instead at Tamarack. Her gaze was directed straight at you, too. She gripped the strap of her bag that was weighing against her chest. Since the day you moved in, that's just been the three of you in your cul-de-sac. Even if the day you moved in was yesterday. It's the same group, you, Tamarack, and Chu, neighbors. But you weren't in your neighborhood anymore. on the outside of that street, Tamarack, exactly like you were, and Chu wasn't. You and her were strangers in Golden Grove now. You didn't know people, and they didn't know you. Chu had been there forever. And it wasn't only that. Sorry. You'd already learned something on your first day of school. Chu was popular. Someday you were gonna be popular too. Oh, Markiplier's live. The fuck is he doing? Oh, is it the sports podcast, I think, with Tyler? Or they're in the same studio? Stupid ad. I think they're doing a Go My Favorite Sports Team thing live. I don't know. But that seems like, yeah, they're doing that. You were glad to have a friend like Tamrock even more. Someday you were gonna be popular too. If he had so many friends, why did he care about getting to know you? Realizing that made you sad. That was weird. Too weird. You weren't gonna let that change things. The three of you were still friends. It didn't matter how many other kids liked him. Chu was your friend too. He said it himself. That meant something. Not looking at the teacher didn't stop your teacher from trying to talk to you. Snow, I'm sure once you're in your seat, you'll get used to it. Soon you won't want to be anywhere else. And if not, you can come talk to me about it. Yes, Mrs. Murray. She didn't talk to desk up anymore. She didn't talk the desk up anymore. It was gonna have to win you over on its own, or not. So, Mrs. Murray had to wait for you and Tamrock to stop your shared stares of surprise. And then she pointed across the floor to a couple of desks near the back that were side by side. Those are yours. Tamrock is the closest to the wall and Snow. Yours is the closest next to that. Window seat. Gonna sit at the window seat. Tamrock happily sung herself a simple song about her brand new desk. Besides the roll call, there won't be any surprises. It'll be a regular, easy first day of school. They're gonna have a chat for me. You can have you take your seats. Tamrock's cheeks inflated, and she pushed a smile between the two balls of air. Okay, let's go. Bye. The teacher stayed resting against her desk, while you and Tamrock went towards your own seats. Tamrock sent quick, excited glances from the desk, then back to you over and over as you walked towards them. She said how it's gonna chatted about how it's gonna be so fun being right next to each other and all of the things you could do during the year. She beamed so bright. It was like her sparkly golden hair made the sunshine that filled the room. And a clap and a call came from what you just left. Attention, students. Class is starting. Take your seats. Just like she said she would, Mrs. Murray was beginning the lesson. You were right in front of your assigned group of desks when she said it. The red plastic chair Mrs. Murray had pointed out before was probably really old. But it was brand new to you. So I can't hear the music. There you go. You pull it out from the tables and gave sitting in it a try. Hard, cold, and slippery smooth. And the back part wasn't straight. It bent away from the bottom seat part. It felt like leaning against the top of a shady slide on the playground. You weren't paying attention, you might fall right off. Maybe that was the point. That was a way to keep kids focused. Tamara was right there next to your left side, by the wall in the window, just like she wanted. Past her, you could see the rustling treetops outside, with her golden fall leaves all bunched together. They kind of look like Tamarac's puffy hair, but not as sparkly. She plopped her huge, jingly pack on the desk. The actual bag barely fit, and she had to bundle up the strap on top so that it wasn't sneaking over into someone else's workspace. The tips of her rain boots were pressed against the dark blue carpet, and she tapped her heels together. It made the shoe squeak. She was excited for her own little place in the room. Sorry, there you go. So we're gonna be right here for the rest of the year. I know, did you just told us? Tamara patted her hands against the thick fabric of the bag and giggled in time with the hits. She stayed pretty busy making a beat. She glanced out at the room ahead of you, where the important boards and teacher were. Chu was there too, in the very first row of seats. It wasn't the same spot he'd been in before when you saw him talking to some people, but the other classmates was seeing with were just as happy to have him there. I can't speak. He was hanging one of his arms across the edge of his chair and was settled in so snugly he looked like a heavy blanket that had been thrown over it. He moved his head to the side to rest his cheek against his stretched out shoulder. Chu somehow made himself sit even more relaxedly. When that happened, you noticed you behind them. Chu firmly pressed his eyebrows and pushed his lips open a little. He wasn't there when you learned you and Tamrak would be together, and he wouldn't be there with you, now he found out. He only looked that way long enough for him to notice that you had noticed his expression. Then your friend, house neighbor, and not seated neighbor, sweetly smiled instead. He's like, wait, they're back there and I'm not there? He's like, what? Wait. Fucking, that used to be popular. Alright. Chu's deep brown eyes gazed darted to Mrs. Murray, directing your attention to her. His eyes kept moving right into a dramatic roll that went all the way around. It wasn't hard to imagine him saying, teachers, huh? Or something like that. For a minute, you could picture what it would have been like if he'd been right next to you. But he couldn't face you forever. It was class time. And you were left staring at the tiny ponytail on the back of his head again. It was okay. You were close enough. Mrs. Murray waited patiently for people to get settled. Every seat had a kid in it. Almost said every kid had a C in it. And final words were said before the room faded into a short silence. That's when things changed from you just being just someone in some room to a student who had to listen to a lesson. Hello, class. Thank you for being here today. Welcome to your first day of 5th grade. She gave a round of applause. Normally the people sitting and watching were the ones who clapped for the person standing in the front. And you guessed Mrs. Murray did things differently. We're gonna have a lot of fun this year, and you'll learn a lot too. But also, you're the big kids on campus now. So I'm counting on you to set a good example for the rest of the students here. Alright? Yes, Mrs. Murray. Around half of the class answered her. Part was in a loud cheer, and others were bored grumbles. The teacher accepted both moods warmly. Thank you. Let's start with roll call then. She crossed past the desk to get a folder off the little cubbies in the corner. She got down and left her stiff brown jacket behind. The teacher flipped the folder open as she stepped back into the center spot. The cozy sweater made everything about her seem softer. You know the story. I'm gonna shout everyone's name in alphabetical order. First name first. When I call your name, raise your hand and say, Here, Mrs. Murray, I'm so excited and happy to be in school with you today. The time the whole class started to chatter, there were both snickers between friends. One of the outcries of, we can't do that, and someone even booed. Okay, just say here, it will work. And no, I know you're listening. Her soft voice had a jovial kick. She had fun with her job. Let's begin. Your first name started with an S, so it's probably gonna be a while before she called you. Yeah. That was kind of cool. You didn't have to go right away and wouldn't have to wait forever either. Mrs. Murray went through each of the 8 kids and it just kept going from there. So all of us, Chu, Tamarok, and me will be like the very last students to be called. Chulin? Chulin didn't really raise his hand. He just popped the thumbs up from his laid-back lean. Here, Mrs. Murray. That worked, though, and your teacher moved on. And then you were next. You knew not just because she was on your first name letter, but because her keen eyes were on you before she even said anything. Snow Parker? Hi, Mrs. Murray. I'm so excited and happy to be in school with you today. All right. I hope that made people laugh. All right. You were one of the You were one to get a response from the class that time. Hushed chuckles came from the clusters of other kids. The teacher gave her approval with a nod. You sat up and you're tall in your seat after a job well done. Roll call rolled on after your turn. Tamrock Bauman? Tamrock's arm shot up in record time. It had already been wound up and ready for that moment. I'm Tamrock, that's me. It wasn't exactly what she was supposed to say, but Tamrock got an A for effort. Mrs. Murray continued with the last of the names. Once every person in a stiff red seat had a turn to say they were there, Mrs. Murray gave you and Tamrock a real introduction to the class. The one she had warned you would be coming. It talked about how you just moved to town and what people were supposed to call you and everything. Mrs. Murray must have asked your mommy and Tamrock's Ami and Oppa to know that. You appreciated that she went to all that work so the other kids would know you. That was the end of the not really teaching us anything except for names part of class. Mrs. Murray took a paper in the folded out of the flap and moved it over to the other side. Please take out your pencils and notebooks now. I'll be going over our plans for the year and what will be expected of all my students. I've been streaming for 3 hours and 20 minutes. That's what happens when you do stream. You do stream for a long time. Especially when your plans are complete the first step and in stream maybe do it later. Like, you're always thinking, how can I make this entertaining? Especially when I'm like eating or doing certain things. I'm like, oh god, this is gonna make people leave because I'm not talking as much. Or like when I'm leaving to shut dogs up, I'm like, oh god, people are gonna be annoyed by this because I'm leaving to do that when I don't want to. Anyway, other than that, let's continue. Your mommy had packed a fresh notebook with perfectly smooth pages that didn't have a single smudge for you to use. You had grabbed something to mark it up if you needed to. It was a pen, no. A cool eraser at the end. Alright. You gripped it tight in your I wanna die. Tight in your right hand. Tamarack leaned over her back to be as close as possible. Her eyes were squinted and set right on Mrs. Murray. She clicked her shoes together again, even faster than before. If her legs beat any quicker, she might turn into a one-girl powered motor and drive the desk around the room. Tarmac was definitely eager to get the information being told, but there wasn't a single piece of paper or pencil anywhere on her desk to take notes. Maybe she only had to listen to know. Over at the other group of tables, Chu's face was pressed against his right fist they had propped up against the desk. He was writing slow, lazy lines with his left hand in a plain spiral notebook. It wasn't his special one. That was your neighbor's, and then there was you. I'm not sure what I was like in elementary. Probably didn't pay much attention. I don't know. Class was easy stuff, you went along with it. School was simple, you didn't even need to try very hard. You did your best to keep up as much. Sorry, there's dogs barking. You did your best to keep up as much as possible. You tried to follow along, but it was hard and didn't go as well. You didn't pay attention to the teacher, it was all dumb. Simple, I guess. Or best to keep up. I swear to God, the dogs. Alright, Mrs. Murray talked about the subjects she'd be covering, upcoming holidays and activities, the way students would be graded, school rules, and even more. You weren't sure she'd ever stop having new things to tell everyone about until she cut herself off. She said something about when parent-teacher conferences might happen and paused there. Chu? You snuck a glance away from in the front of him. You couldn't help it. He totally lost that droopy pose. Instead, Chu was hunched over a page. And it was from his special notebook. He was scribbling in a hurry. Yeah? The answer was as breezy as ever. He didn't try to sound like a student being called out by a teacher. He was polite enough to pull himself up to look at the person speaking to him. Am I going too fast? Or is there anything else I can do differently? It's been very uncomfortable. The pencil dropped and clattered to the floor. Both Chu's hands hovered over the piece of paper. He stared at it unsurely, as if he didn't know if it was suddenly too hot to touch or not. For a minute, Chu didn't know what to do. He blinked and then started to talk again. Slowly, thoughtfully. No, it's alright. He leaned fully against his chair and threaded his fingers together primally while placing them over the page. From your spot in the back, you could see the edge of a smile on the side of his face. And even if you couldn't see it, you would have been able to hear the smirk in his voice. I was writing down what you were talking about. I'll get to that later. Don't worry about it. Chu's eyes went wide at his boldness, and a few kids brave enough themselves to giggle at Chu's comeback. Mrs. Murray's usual smile was faint, but it was there. Well, let me know if you change your mind. I will, thanks. She stopped the little break there and tapped her folder with the back of her hand to get the students' attention once more. Nothing but normal school stuff happened for the rest of the time. It was a lot like your old classes and other places. Golden Grove didn't have a secret way of teaching kids that the rest of the country had never heard of. You figured it would be easy. It would be that way, but seeing the regular lesson happen made it clear what you were dealing with. And like all of the classes you had before, this one was over eventually. But before the teacher let anyone get up, Mrs. Murray went all over the room to drop piles of paper on the few different groups of desks. Oh, she explained how they were stacks of homework sheets and everyone had to take one packet with them and bring it back finished tomorrow. No. Then she said bye to the students and it was okay to leave. She was your new nemesis. Sounded like it was gonna be hard, so you didn't care as much. Mrs. Murray was pretty and smart. You liked her a lot. Of all the teachers you had, she was the best so far. Out of all the teachers you had, she was the worst so far. Teachers all seemed the same to you. You were just glad to be out of class. I guess that. Was this one? She seemed alright. But you had to warm up to her? Maybe. You have a whole school year to figure out how you felt about her. Right next to you, the spell that kept Tamarak totally locked on to Mrs. Murray during the class broke. The teacher went over to her desk and Tamarak had turned to you. She stared at the pencil in your hand. Actually, it was the opposite. She was looking at the hand that was holding the pencil. I used my right hand too. We're the same again. Yeah, it's Mary, you know. Yeah, same hands. And then Tamarak wasn't talking about hands anymore. That was finished according to her. This time it really was the pencil itself that had her attention. She poked it with a finger. I like your eraser. I don't like it that much. It's all I had when I moved. I like it too. Yep. Tamarak started to hum and got to work unbuckling the two front straps of her bag. How come you didn't write stuff down in class? We were really listening hard in class. You're probably gonna forget things since you didn't take any notes. How come you didn't write any stuff down in class? She simply kept tugging on the class to unhook them, carefree. I wouldn't read any of that. The buckles clicked open. She flipped the top flap over and in went one of the homework packets. Closing it all back up followed right after. That was all she had to put away because she hadn't taken anything out of the bag for the whole class. She pulled the bag closer and wiggled herself under the strap. There was only one thing left before she was set. Tamrak bounced out of her chair and the heavy bag settled across her shoulder with a rattle. Come on, Snow! She made a dash to the coat rack where her pink scarf was waiting. Before leaving, you remember to take the homework packet and tuck it away in the inner pocket of your bag. Nothing else was forgotten either. You put all your things back where you'd taken them from. Sorry, there's dogs barking. You even brushed off the stray pencil shavings and eraser bits that had gone on your side, thanks to the other kids in your table group. The desk was all nice and clean when you finished, but as soon as you got up, you couldn't, cause someone called for you. Oh, Choo! Hello. Hey, Snow. I don't know, I think his voice is like very raspy, like maybe like Ash Ketchum or something like that. That's kind of the voice I have in mind for him. Hey! Something like that. Still like a kid voice, but still as raspy as ever. You check behind you and there was Chew. Coming up from the front of the class, he was waving a piece of tan brown lined paper in his hand. Did you drop a paper again? You teased. Snow, you are funny, but you're about to feel silly. But it's good you're here, I've got stuff to say. Though, I guess I could have told you even if you had gone. We live in the same neighborhood. I don't know, I don't like this voice. Maybe a bit different. I sound like even Chew struggled to wrap his head around the idea that the two of you were strangers about a day ago. And now we're people who were gonna be seeing each other all the time. There's a soft... Oh. I was like, what the hell? There was a soft crinkle as Chew tapped the edge of his special paper against the right palm again and again. He stopped being able to hear it when Chew started to ramble, though he kept doing it. Okay, so this paper, here's what happened. I was talking to my mom and dad about it yesterday, back when it was still yesterday, and I realized something. He flapped both of his arms wide. Chew was acting as blown away as he must have been when he first learned the thing he was trying to explain. Tamrak was finding my papers and sending it to you wasn't just some unexpected, unexplainable thing that we were wondering about. It was sucky. What was it? What, it was? Yes. With drama and emotion, Chew whipped his arms up and down in rapid gestures. He needed you to feel what he was feeling, which turned out to be what he imagined you had been feeling before. You got a paper airplane with a message that had your name and everything. That's exciting. It had to mean something. But then it wasn't a message for you. It was an accident. Well, that's like the biggest letdown I can even imagine. He had been flying the page around like it was another paper airplane. I think if I let it rest for a second when his arms dropped, all this bluster became only a sigh. If you're gonna get a note from me, it should have been something to say to you. That's what I thought of when I thought about it more. Oh, now I get it. That wasn't the end of the story, though. It was the prologue. Chew sprung back into action and raised his left arm with a page pressed between his thumb and the rest of his outstretched fingers. Oh, so I've got something for you. He shook the hand in his. He shook the paper in his hand, grinning cheekily. There was no way not to get what he meant, and what was supposed to be for you. You wrote me a note? That's right. Chu swished his paper one more time to bring it down low enough for you to take. He excitedly seized the note from his hand. The page in your fingers was exactly like what you remember from the plain one, somehow tougher and softer than regular paper, and with that same light brown color. When you read the message, the words scribbled on it were all different than the first time. Welcome to the neighborhood. From Chulin this time, actually. I guess he's like, what would I actually make if, you know, it like was sent to you? That was what's written in big clear letters, stars and a smiley face crowded out in any plain spots, and the words had uncovered. I can't speak. It was careful work. The extra line in the Q was a fancy curve, and he didn't even draw stars from corner to corner. There weren't even lines through the middle of them. The huge difference between a note Chu wanted someone to see and the one you got by accident was huge. Some blurry thing came up past the top edge of the paper. You blink, distracted, then squint over the page to figure out what was going on in the room. It was Chu, high on his tiptoes, watching you read the note, smirking, hands tucked behind his back, and all around very pleased with himself. It's pretty good, huh? You're gonna have come with something better, you teased. I'll keep this forever. Thank you. Okay. I wasn't disappointed by the paper yesterday. Thanks for this one. But I don't hate the first note. It was cool too. Let's see what this is. You silently vowed to treasure it. You smiled at him, really thoughtful. Chu. I don't want. This is the best thing I've ever gotten. This is a masterpiece. Drawings are so good. Thanks for this one, but I don't hate the first one. It was cool too. Chu was already standing as tall as he could, but what you said still uplifted him even more through his eyebrows and the corners of his mouth. That lopsided smile grew until it was dazzlingly full. His arms tensed around himself like a heart squeezed hard inside a chest. Really? Even better. You gave one more glance at the message Chu had written for you. It was still there, welcoming you to the neighborhood every time you saw it. When you looked at Chu himself again, he finally dropped to his feet and held hands back to where they normally were. He waited there to see if you were going to do anything else. Is this why you were writing down in class? You really gotta focus on class stuff during class, even though the notes are cool. Chu, were you okay before when the teacher picked on you? I hate that teachers call out people like that in front of the class, like what Mrs. Murray did on you. I've been wondering, why do you wear your gloves inside of the classroom? Were you okay before when the teacher picked on you? You were the one worrying about me? When this is your first day in a new school? In a new town? With all new people? You're a really nice boy. I'm not that nice. I'm not that nice. I hate you. I hate you so much. You suck. You suck. Nightmare. Alright. That's right, I'm Mr. Nice Person. You're nicer than I am. Yeah, I'm worried. And nice. He snored when a new thought tickled his brain. I told you Mrs. Murray was a tough one for me. He tilted his head. It made some strands of dark brown hair slip in front of his face. Chu grinned, though, that reassuringly, encouragingly, wanting you to smile along with him about how silly he obviously thought it was. But you didn't. There wasn't anything you could even pretend was fun on your face. It looked all squished and twisted like your stomach felt. This was troubling. Without thinking, Chu brushed the out-of-place hairs behind his ears. It was a smooth move. The way he talked to you also got you more mellow. Look, that was nothing. I'm a fast writer. I can do my own stuff and get the school stuff. She was giving me all the attention because I'm the favorite. Straining back out, Chu shrugged his arms widely in a "what can you do" kind of way. He just wasn't gonna care about it. Okay, I get it. Good. Even though Chu was the last one talking, he abruptly sliced a hand through the air to get whatever the conversation out of the way and have it be about something else. But wait, before I forget, I gotta tell you, I'm impressed, Snow. The first day's gotta be the hardest when you're new and you didn't even break a sweat in class. His hands were on his hips in a commanding pose as he talked energetically. Nothing was held back. He didn't feel smaller next to his bright presence, and you don't think that's what he was trying to do. Chu was starting to get to know you better, and it was making him look at you differently. You could handle it. What did you think it was gonna happen? I died. I've been to school before, no big deal. Thanks. I'm glad you were here. Press your mouth into a line. I'm interested. You held up a confident, okay sign. I did my best. What do you think was gonna happen? I die? No, it could have been anything, but instead of anything, it was nothing. He closed his eyes and snickered. While thinking of some kind of thought, he stretched and curled his fingers to feel out the way his gloves were fitting. Chu pinched the edges to straighten them out better. Anyway, you and Tamarack are in the bag next to each other, huh? Mrs. Murray is smart, just smart. Sometimes too smart for me. I wanted to sit by you. It's so great that we're seeing neighbors. And, the teacher said a bunch of people want to sit with you. With a huge smile, Chu swings his arms open wide. Yeah, of course they did. I want to sit by you, but she said no. I wanted to, plus, how can you and Tamarack be in the same spot and I'm not there? We're all neighbors. But if Marap said no, we're not gonna get her to change her mind. Trust me. At least, we've got our houses sitting next to each other still. Yeah. Paper crinkled in your hand. In your hand. You'd been gripping it the entire time. You twisted it. You twisted away to pull the zip on your bag. The welcome message you got from Chu went right next to the packet of homework Mrs. Murray had given you. Chu giving you a paper reminded you that you had one you could give him too. You gave him the paper you dropped before class. Your bag was already open before putting away the newest paper, so you stuck your hand into it again. The backpack couldn't be zipped up all the way, so everything would fall out, or everything would fall out. You only made a hole big enough for reaching around inside. Luckily, the paper from Chu's special notebook wasn't anything like the homework from Mrs. Murray. You didn't have to look to know it. You could just tell by touching it. But you did have to worry about mixing up the page that was yours to keep and the one that wasn't. You had to stick your face against the cool, bumpy zipper track. bumpy zipper track to read which Connie paper you had before you were sure you got it right. Then he looked at Chew again. Remember when I asked if you dropped that paper you gave me? You dropped this. That's what you said when you held the paper out to him. It worked like a ticket to a time machine because you saw the exact same thing you did yesterday with Chew gasping, flailing his hands and all of it. That's it. Both his hands smacked against his chest, pressing it back while his head, shoulders, and eyes jutted out in total shark. You've got another one? He squished himself so much that the next question could come out as a bashful peep. That's the paper from yesterday, right? The one Tom Rex found? Nope. He glanced at the paper for a second, then back at Chew. The side with the words was the one you had up. He could read at least some of the message, even if it was a little bent in your hand. But he guessed it was still shy, and Chew didn't want to miss the tiny chance he had been caught losing another piece of the notebook. And that was exactly what happened, though. Nope, it's a different one. Yeah, looks like it. His stiffness melted away, and Chew stood evenly with his head high again. A grin grew too, same as the flower after winter. You know, Snow, your sorcery really amazes me. You and him broke into laughter together. If you really were a sorcerer, you do a lot more than make Chew lose his papers, but it was still a good joke. Chew swept his left palm up towards you, kind of like someone might ask for a dance in a movie. He did fancy moves like that a lot, and you liked it. Chew was pretty and cool, even when he just wanted his stuff. You placed the page right there, like the paper was giving him a low five. Chew crossed his right arm over to reach into the left pocket of his pants. Out came his well-worn notebook with the pages that barely stayed stuck inside. I think we're gonna save. I've been streaming for a long time, and I want to take a break. So, we're gonna leave it right here. I saved the game, so there's no reason to do this. Alright. Alright, I'm waiting for it to move to the menu screen. Whatever. I don't think it's gonna do that for me. Oh, there we go. Alright. So, that was the end of the stream. I hope you liked it. We're gonna play some more, maybe later. Maybe tomorrow. Don't know when. But we will be playing it. Alright. How do I end the stream? I don't know. But I'll see you later. Bye.